Section 8 of Shadowland, October 1919. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Great Actors' War by Raymond Reid. Just as the first week of August 1914 has gone down in the history of the world as marking the beginning of the greatest war of mankind, so the first week of August 1919 will record the occasion of the greatest conflict in the history of the stage. For many years the clouds of war have been gathering upon the theatrical horizon, but they were lightly regarded. Actors might organize, it was confidently stated in theatrical circles, and be eventually affiliated with federated labor, but there would never be any real hostility between them and the managers, because the latter held the purse strings, and the actors, tradition had it, would never stick together. And then, with a suddenness which bore a remarkable similarity to that which marked the beginning of the world conflict, the actor-manager war broke out. The Battle of Broadway was on, and before a week had been passed, it threatened to extend throughout the nation and part of Canada. While no acts of violence, no atrocities have been resorted to, testifying anew to the gentlemanly character of the forces on each side, friendships by the score have been broken, millions of dollars have been lost or sacrificed, bitter accusations and recriminations have been passed back and forth, lawsuits by the dozens have been instituted, daily communiques have been published, strategic maneuvers to win the support of the public have begun on each side. Indeed, every device known to warfare, except actual destruction of life and property, has been called into use by the powerful forces in conflict. It is the greatest sensation that has ever been recorded in the theatrical world, paling into insignificance, that struggle many years ago between the Syndicate, a group of managers dominating the activities of the stage, and which consisted mainly of Claw and Erlanger, Charles Frohman, Rich and Harris, and Alf Heyman, and the Independents, who were seeking to break down the monopoly, and who comprised, among others, such managers as the Messrs. Schubert, David Belasco, and Harrison Gray Fisk. At that time it was solely a fight of managers against managers. The actor was an interested onlooker, inasmuch as his services were being sought by each side at remarkably lucrative salaries. His traditional dignity was supposed to shield him from the abuse and bad feelings of a managerial controversy. He was first and last an artist, supremely indifferent to questions of contracts and other affairs of business. With the passing of time, however, the actor began to take a keener and keener interest in his relations with his managers. He began to see and appreciate the practicality of organization as an effectual protection of his rights, and it was in this appreciation that may be observed the spirit which led to the crisis which confronts the theater today. Actors not only organized, but they stuck together in a campaign for principles which they believed just, and when they could not win by what they termed moral suasion, they struck. And they struck with all the picturesqueness and dramatic instinct of which their natures were capable. They held mass meetings at their headquarters and in hotels, at which emotion characteristically ran high. They paraded the streets in motor cars and afoot, enlisting the aid of public opinion. They held a pretentious parade which was marshaled with that fine and peculiar feeling for electrifying effects as are associated with stage presentations. They obtained a theater wherein they could attract patronage that would aid their strike fund. They picketed with zeal, though not with considerable originality, those theaters against which they had declared a ban. They established offices in various restaurants and hotels for the purpose of conducting their multifarious activities in connection with the strike. And while the actors were busy, the managers planned their campaign with enterprise and adroitness. They also had their organization, headed by the alert and resourceful firm of Cohen and Harris, and upon the advice of shrewd lawyers they proceeded to harass their opponents with elaborate lawsuits and with the assembling of strike-breaking casts. They recognized the value of propaganda, and possessing great wealth at their command, printed large advertisements in the press stating their side of the case. They instituted a large press bureau, with two of the most able publicity men of their theater in charge, and they appreciated the moral value of wholesale resignations from actors' clubs in gaining defections from the ranks of their opponents. Supreme confidence reigned on each side. Each side was convinced of the justice of its stand and of its ability to win, and the public, at first amused by something really new under the sun, became increasingly confused by the charges and countercharges, the changes in the theatrical map, the different incidents that were headlined daily in the press. But interest never waned. Whether the strike lasts a fortnight or 6 months, widespread disaster will have been effected in the theatrical world, a result which will be observed for many seasons to come. After all, it is simply another phase of the age-long struggle between capital and labor. Perhaps it will inspire a great playwright, a Galsworthy, to write a new strife, in which the issue will be settled, but perhaps that is hoping too much. Perhaps it would be best to let the public decide the issue. After all, it is the public which pays, and pays, and pays. End of Section 8. Read by Adam Smith, Sutherland, Virginia, March 6, 2024.